Welcome to the show where we talk about whatever we want, whenever we want, and nobody cares.
Hi, I'm Joshua, and this is my brother and co-host Eli, and
This is Podcast.
Hey guys, hope you're having a magnificent day. And today we're talking about ghosts and haunting. It was something we kind of mentioned yesterday during Topic Droid Tuesday. And we're like, well, we'll talk about that tomorrow. So
Why not?
Why not? So we've actually lived in a couple haunted houses. So
Yeah, and of course, you may be speculative on whether or not ghosts are real and hauntings are real and stuff like that. To me, they very much are.
I've had enough experiences that I've had enough experiences, you know, to not be skeptical. So,
I'll just jump right in. First of all, I know that we talked about yesterday that the house that we lived in Bremen was haunted. We talked about that.
It was very haunted.
You guys talked about. I don't have memories of the house in Bremen. It was before my memory line.
Now, Mom and Dad said they had woken up a few times to having some kind of fog, in a kind of a fog floating at the foot of their bed, and they both experienced it on multiple occasions. They would smell pipe tobacco. Well, that's
not a bad thing.
That's not a bad thing.
But nobody
smoked. They said they had Dad had an Indian flute in his desk, and on a couple occasions they'd heard it play, and then they'd come downstairs and be out of the desk and on the couch.
It was Grandma Betty.
It was Grandma Betty. She was rocking the flute. I don't really remember any of this. The one thing I do remember is that there was a hood and a light above the oven. And I do remember it would kick on just randomly.
Yeah.
And I didn't, as a kid, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until years later, Mom and Dad like, oh yeah, that place was really haunted, that I was like, yeah, I do remember that. I do remember the light and the hood would kick on and just be like,
yeah.
And so
I had heard that was a very nice house though. It's nice.
It was a big house. It was Mom and Dad's first house that they bought together.
Yeah.
You guys were born, and that was your first home you lived in for the first year of your life.
First 2 or 3, I think they said.
So, oh yeah, I guess it would be your first 2 or 3. So
still, I have no recollection.
I have, other than the little hood thing, I don't really have any recollection of hauntings. Now, Mom and Dad have a plethora of stories. However, the next house they moved into, the one that's here in Lancaster that they live in currently and have lived for,
it hasn't been that bad, but it has.
You had some experiences. I've had experiences there.
My earliest and probably really biggest experience was there was one time we were. Now, this is the way it happened in my memory. Now, when I say it, Sam disputes it, Mom disputes it, but they have disputed stories too, so I'm just going to give it the way I remember it. You guys were playing Scrabble. Clue. And Sam and I were playing Candyland.
We were doing a family game night.
Yeah, Sam and I were playing Candyland on a lower coffee table. We were probably 6?
Something, maybe.
Something like that.
Maybe 7 or 8, maybe.
But Mom suddenly shushes everybody. Shh! Do you guys hear that?
It was last year. You guys were playing Candyland on a lower coffee table.
Yeah, it was last year. But she's like, "Shh! You guys hear that?" And we're like, "What?" Everyone's like, "What?" And she's like, "It sounds like there's somebody walking downstairs from upstairs." And I was like, we were all like, we
all got quiet.
We didn't hear it at first.
But then we did. Everybody.
The second time.
And
she said, "Guys, really be quiet." And everyone heard it. I heard it. I remember hearing it.
Oh, I remember hearing it. Yeah, absolutely.
And
it sounded like somebody was coming down the steps.
We bolted. Everyone out the house,
Mom was like, "Okay, we get out of the house right now." She said, "I don't know who's here, but everybody out of the house."
Now, of course, what made it worse is that we actually had to go. The stairs at my parents' house imagine it's coming down the stairs like this from upstairs. Well, also the stairs to the basement is underneath that. You just have to go back to the kitchen and go back down, right? Well, to get to the side door, you had to go up here, where if there was a person and they hit the bottom of the stairs and they turn the corner, we would have had to been walking at them to get out the door. But she's like, everybody out, we go push. We all push out the door. We went to our next door neighbors. I remember it was snowing. It was cold, and we didn't really have cell phones, but they did have. Mom and Dad had one of those the wireless.
No, they didn't. They went to Ben Candace's house next door, the neighbors at the time, and they called from their house.
Because I thought Mom was sitting in the truck with the wireless.
No,
landline.
Everybody went over to Ben Candace. They called from their house. So they called, and
like 20 police officers showed up.
Yeah.
And they were searching the house, they were searching the neighborhood. I remember being in our next door neighbor's house, looking at the window and looking at cops searching around the house for people. And Mom said at one point, a young female cop walked up to her and said, "Ma'am, there's nobody here." And she thought it was a prank call and all that, and it was bad. It was very, very bad.
Now, that's not the only time we've heard... It's not the only time we've heard footsteps in the house. I have heard on 2 occasions heard footsteps in the hallway, and this was actually many years later. I was working at the hospital at the time.
Yeah.
And I was taking extra shifts, and I was staying over late, and so I went and slept in Grandma Betty's old room.
Yeah.
And because our mom and dad live right across from the hospital, so I could just get up in the morning and walk across. So I was working late shifts and going in early. So a couple nights I spent the night at Mom and Dad's. Well, I'm laying on the floor. I'm all bundled up in my blankets, and I hear footsteps. And the first time I didn't think much of it. The second time I did. And I was like, Sam? Because I think you were sleeping downstairs and Sam was in their bedroom. And so I get up and I walk into the hallway and I look into the hallway and I'm hearing footsteps coming at me. There's footsteps coming at me, but there's nobody in the hallway. I was like,
Like, bye, Felicia.
I was like, okay. I went back to bed. I was like,
I know. In an experience that I didn't have, that Grandma Betty had before she passed away, which was really interesting actually, was she said that one night she was sitting there, she was laying in bed and she heard her door open. She woke up and she sat up and she said somebody wearing what looked like a white burlap sack over their top half of their body. I don't know what that means, but she said somebody doing that walked in and sat and like kind of leaned over her and looked at her. Kind of like sat over like this for a little bit, sat back up, turned around, and walked out of the room.
She was incredibly superstitious.
Yes.
I'm not,
But I still think that...
I've never heard that story, actually.
So, another story, it's not really a story from us, but actually Lancaster used to be home to, I say used to on purpose, used to be home to what was considered one of the most haunted locations in Ohio, and that was Mudhouse Mansion. And it was a privately owned building. It was way out, on Mudhouse Road, actually. They called it Mudhouse Road. It was out there, and it was just incredibly creepy. I mean, you could go during the day, you could go during the night, and you couldn't go on the property, though. It was not allowed.
They just tore it down.
Yeah, and that's why I said it used to be, because they just tore it down. And actually, I know some people that got some pieces from it. So it...
That's the beginning of a horror movie, right?
Yeah, it is. They're gonna start being haunted, and I have a feeling that they're not the kind of people to believe in ghosts. They might soon. But yeah, we used to house one of the most haunted, considered one of the most haunted places, and there used to be kids would go and sneak in during the night and stuff like that. But it was really incredibly dangerous because the first floor was pretty much in the basement. Most of it had been so decrepit where it had fallen down the basement. That's always not good to even try to go inside.
It's not dangerous because it's haunted. It's dangerous because it's condemned.
Yeah. But it was a very interesting building, though. I mean, yet looking at it, was very it should have been. It could have been an incredibly beautiful Victorian-style home. Instead, it was just it was destroyed. You know, the windows were all blown out. The people talked about seeing for the haunting side of things, people talk about seeing people in the upstairs, in the main floor, which wasn't even really possible.
Well, and there's a plethora of legends that come out of that.
There's so many stories, and it's kind of crazy actually how much people believed about it, and how the story that I've heard, which is supposed to be the story, it's the story that's online about what's believed to be the main story, is that it was haunted for one reason or another. But the main hauntings from today come from when this one family moved in the late 1800s or something like that. The ghost that already presided there started killing them off and hanging them in an upstairs room. And now supposedly they all reside there. So I don't know. But
you know, when I worked for a short period of time at a donut store, the Mars,
downtown,
and you know, when I started working, they're like, yeah, by the way, let you know this place is haunted.
I forgot you talked. Demise was haunted.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, okay. Every restaurant I've ever worked in, everybody says, oh, by the way, the restaurant's haunted, and so I was like, okay. You know, not that I'm skeptical about ghosts, I'm just skeptical about people saying their place is haunted. You know, everybody says that. And so I was like, yeah, okay. Well, it got to a point where it really was, I was like, oh, damn, this place is pretty haunted. I you know, when I first started there, we would, you know, we'd make donuts early. So you'd be in at like 4 in the morning and you'd be making donuts for the morning. And what we would do is we'd actually take like an hour break and we'd leave and we'd turn off the fryers. Well, we turn off the fryers, we come back, the fryers would be on. And this happened a multitude of times, even being doubled and triple checked, you know, with 2 people. You know, like I would check it, Sue would check it, I would check it, Sue would check it, and we leave. And we come back an hour later, and the fryer would be on. And so finally one day, she just goes, look, if you keep doing this, you're going to burn the business down. It never happened again. I saw things move on their own there.
The donuts have a mind of their own.
The CD player would turn on and off by itself. Like we'd be listening to music and the CD player would turn off, or we'd be not listening to music and the CD player would turn on. This was all playing good until there was one evening I was working and I'm looking. There was a window that, you know, we were in the kitchen, but there was a window in the kitchen that looked out into the main area where people could come in. And so I'm working there. I'm looking out the window. The CD player's not on. I see the red light come on the CD player, and the music kicks on. So I walk out, and the CD player was unplugged. It didn't have the plug in it. There's no batteries in it. There's no way for it to generate power, and yet it's sitting there playing. I hit the stop button, it stopped. I hit the play button, it didn't play. It was, you know, it wasn't, but you know, honestly, it was maybe a little bit freaky, but it was never really scary. You know, I named the ghost Boris. Yeah, and so when I would come in, I'd be like, hey, Boris, and when I leave, I'd be like, see you, Boris. See you tomorrow night. And you know, it was just, you know, it became a running joke, and you know, it was never scary. So, you know, but interesting stuff. Yeah.
Well, we are actually out of time. That ended up just becoming a bunch of stories, but that's okay, I guess. We are actually out of time. So, until next time, I'm Eli.
I'm Joshua.
And this is Podcast. Hey guys, did you like today's episode? Go ahead and press that like button. And if you really like it, go ahead and subscribe. Also, if you have anything that you want us to talk about, go ahead and comment. If you think your friends will like it, go ahead and share it. Also, check us out on Facebook at This Is Podcast. Well, I think it's Mando time.